nah. He said, listen, my album's done. I'm putting this as the last song on there. I can't have you go away and come back. You need to do this for me now. He goes, go out of the room, Jugs, go with him, go spend half an hour outside, get some fresh air and come back. He goes, we got to do this today. So we went outside and me and him started vibing. We started vibing and we started bouncing ideas off each other. And I co-wrote that song. I co-wrote Nahin Jeena, my first single. And then we started putting it down, started vocaling it. The next day, I think I vocaled it because we wrote it that day. And Rishi was like, okay, so when can you record this, Jugs? And I was like, I was thinking like next week. In my head, I'm thinking like next week or so. And he's like, I said, I don't know. I said, let me learn it. He goes, all right, when can you do it? Tomorrow, day after? And I'm like, oh shit, this guy's quick, man. So this is a Wednesday we've written it. And he's like, Friday, come Friday. And I'm like, okay. So I couldn't say no, obviously. At any point, I could not say no to this guy because he's given me an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
If I say no, I might just blow it.
Yeah.
So I had to go with it. I said, yeah, okay, I'll be back on Friday. So I went away, learned the song. I'm reciting it, made it mine. Went back in on the Friday, went and vocaled it. And then did the vocals for that. And then he's like, okay, brilliant, man. He goes, I got what I need. He goes, thank you, man. He goes, that was wicked. I'll be in touch as soon as it's ready. And then I think he took another couple of days. On the weekend, he got a guy called Don D on there. And on the Monday, he rang me and he was like, Jugs, your song's ready. He goes, you want to come and have a listen? I'm like, wow, bro. That's mad. Like, I only met you on Sunday.
Yeah.
For the first time ever.
Wow.
And a week later, we've got a song. And he's like, yeah, he goes, it's going on the album. He goes, come down and have a listen.
You think that's what made Rishi special?
Yeah, man. He's quick, bro. He's very, very good at working with and developing artists. And that's what he did with me. He developed me. He gave me the opportunity. He helped me start my career. He gave me the opportunity that I was looking for, that I needed in this career. And sometimes I guess if I never met him, I don't know where I would be. I might be in a restaurant because I loved. Somebody asked me that once before. If you weren't a singer, what would you be? I said I'd be a chef. I'd have a restaurant because I used to have a kebab shop when I was 18. When I left uni, I had a kebab shop, and that's what I was going to do. So it wasn't a shop. It was a food market store.
Right.
I was in a market in Stevenage, and that's another. I would talk about that another time. But
I have two questions for you here.
Go on.
First of all, what goes into composing or writing a song? Like you said, you'd never done it before until you started vibing with somebody. How do you know what a verse looks like? How it rhymes? How it would go, start, finish? Like, where do you start?
I had no idea, to be honest. He helped me do that. That first song is when I learned how to structure a song. Your style, your antra, you're basically your chorus, your pre-chorus, your verse, and all of that structure. And nowadays you can just play around. You can just do, you start with a chorus or you can start with a verse. You can do whatever you want, right? It's all down to you. It's how you want to put your song out. Everyone's chopping and chaining and doing whatever they want now. So there's no real kind of concrete structure to a song, but there is a general kind of way of doing it, and that was taught to me on that day. And then after that, I just started writing songs myself. I wrote Sonia, I wrote Billo, and then all the covers, all the remixes, all the features with Craig David, Missy Elliott, Britney, this, that, all of that stuff. I wrote all those myself.
Do you need permission from them artists to use the songs?
No, those were done with them.
With them?
Yeah. Wow. They were done with them. They asked us to remix the track. Yeah, wow. So we were...
Would you conversate with any of these?
So Rishi, our management was, so we had management 2.9, 2.0.
2.0.
From back in the day, that tag, that was our management at the time. And obviously, the management's role and A&R's role is to, communicate with other labels and other artists, and they had a really good rapport with other distributors and labels and artists and stuff like that. So we were able to connect with a lot of these people and get on a lot of the records, and they were official remixes. They weren't just remixes, bootlegs and stuff like that. They were official. Like, there was someone from their team that was like, right, we've got this record we want, and it was sent out to like 10 different producers, and then the best ones would get picked and get put on, and everyone that we got offered,
Mhm.
everyone that got pitched, we got on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The one with
it
Craig
was
Davids,
amazing,
they
man.
were mad. The one with
Thank you,
Craig
man.
David, them ones, they were
Yeah,
just
Craig
like,
David's a legend, man. He's still going right now, strong as well with
he's
his
re-
whole
he's
TS5
he's
brand as well.
reinvented himself.
Yeah, he has.
And
Absolutely.
it's so important, like in terms of like, how do you reinvent yourself?
I think reinventing yourself is just, um, styling, the things you do, the way you look, the type of music you're putting out, maybe making some small changes. Um,
How do you keep up with trends? Like the beats have changed from 20 years ago to 10
right.
years ago to now. Like,
Yeah. So that I think doesn't need to change so much
mm,
because people come to you for a certain sound,
mhm,
right? Now, for example, if I started changing what I do to make it sound like what somebody new and that is working right now is doing, that might not work for me.
mm,
So don't jump on the bandwagon and don't jump on someone else's trend because if it's working for him, it's not necessarily going to work for you. What's worked for me is the pop stuff that I've been doing for the last
yeah.
20 years.
So where does that line come of coachability still being able to be coached and divert a little bit where you see certain artists will be in the 1990s to the noughties to now, there's a few artists out there, that they do change it to what's relevant just to stay relevant
Yeah, yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
Where's that line? Where is it you want to be?
No, don't get me wrong. We still do that, but you can't change it so much that you
Mm,
take away from what you started off as. Do you know
yes.
what I mean? You can't go so far
Yeah.
away from the style that you had
Yeah.
that people just to please other people.
Yeah.
You got to be true to yourself. You got to be
Mm,
real. You know what I mean? You got to be
mm,
like, but listen, this is me. This is my sound. Yes, I'll give you an example. Like there's a song that we just did called Vung, right? It came out probably about 8 weeks ago.
okay.
Now the music production on that is very current. I didn't like it initially when I heard it,
Yeah.
right? But everybody else said to me, Jugs, what are you talking about? That is the production you want to go with. And I was going with something a bit more pop, a bit more Punjabi,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, nah, man, nah, I'm not really feeling it. But then it grew on me, and I was like, and it was literally that. And I said, but are people gonna think that I'm
Hmm.
trying to be like these new kids?
Hmm.
Because that's what was in my head.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to do that, man, because they're gonna think, oh, he's trying to be like them now, you
Hmm.
know?
Okay.
And they were like, no, 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 no. It's not. No one's gonna say that. It's just something fresh. It's because it's so fresh for you. You think it's too much to. It's too much of a big change, but it's
Hmm.
not. You're still giving your vibe as you would, but the producer has done something which is making it fresh for
Hmm.
today's sound,
Hmm.
and it worked. It worked well. People really liked it, and it increased my numbers by quite a considerable amount, and it was good. It was good. So it is good to change. It's good to keep it real, but it's good to have those changes. But those are the people that you work with. They can bring that.
Hmm.
So you go to a certain producer for a certain sound, you bring your style and you bring their style and you match it up, and that's a good compromise.
Hmm.
So you don't change yourself too much.
I,
That's the line, I guess.
I hear you. How does this is a sensitive topic, but
Mm.
how does the money side of things work? So Rishi Rich is now giving you an opportunity on this track. He's asking you to come in and sing, help write.
Yeah.
How's the money side? What does this mean in terms of money? Because a lot of people go, well, if this blows up, you're going to be profiting off me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a line of, hey, this is an opportunity here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get to
Yeah.
be known. Like
Yeah.
this, I could springboard off this. Like,
Of course.
what was your thought process in
So
that aspect?
at the time it was, there was not even money wasn't even an issue. It was like, okay, look, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door.
Mhm.
I know the money will come. When the money comes, it'll be fine. And I used to say that to my parents because in the beginning there was no money involved. We were just working. We were working to get ourselves out there, and we were up and down. We were doing shows, and we were getting paid peanuts.
Mhm.
But we had a, a a bigger. There was a bigger picture. There was a bigger agenda.
Mhm.
There was like, okay, we are out there to make a real mark and make something happen here. You know what I mean? And our management had that same vision. We did see money, but it wasn't a huge amount. Um, but I guess I mean, sometimes we look back at it now and we think, well, you know,